What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. This is going to be your monthly astrological overview for the month of February 2025. We're already in the second month of 2025. And man, I mean, there's going to be a lot of layers to talk about throughout February, just as much as like what we've been dealing with since like literally October. Yeah, this is a continuation. January was quite of a month, honestly. Like, there was a lot of like new things happening, a lot of shifts changing at that month, throughout that month. We're basically building up to this like Pisces Stellium that's been basically going on since at least Venus has gone into the sign of Pisces since the beginning of January, and this trend is going to continue throughout February into March. Basically, there's also two planets, Jupiter and Mars, stationing direct this month, which is good. But, when we're talking about, when we left off for January at the end of the month, I basically was saying like Venus was entering her pre-shadow retrograde territory, and she's going to be in her retrograde territory throughout the month of February, which is going to be the more important, I guess, more important than the actual Venus retrograde itself. Because usually whenever, especially when we're talking about like Mercury retrogrades or whatever, or any planet in their pre-retrograde territory, is mainly the main focus of what's being handed to us, what we are being like paying attention to. Whatever situation is being thrown at us basically is going to be more important, because once we get to the actual retrograde point for Venus, which actually begins on March 1st, that through all the whole month of March and into April will be the time to change stuff to do with like the way we express love, change anything to do with relationships, and what we value will be changing and stuff like that. So we'll kind of continue like talking about like all this stuff. I just wanted to kind of give you like the overall layers and like general reading of what this month is going to be like. Because yeah, like this is actually a good month. There's like the tides are shifting basically. Like, we have Jupiter stationing direct right at the beginning of the month. Mars is basically finishing up its retrograde cycle since December, so it's like these planets are about to go, but there's just like this Venus retrograde that we still have to kind of get through before everything gets like forward, before we get more just the push forward for any plans and stuff like that. So I know it's kind of like a good intro, whatever, to enter February and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll talk more about it as we go through it. This is going to be another interesting month. We basically have about 3 months left of this like retrograde, or I should say personal retrograde, because Mercury, Venus, and Mars are the personal planets. We feel those more personally than the outer planets, basically. So when these planets go in retrograde, or they're going through their stages or whatever, we feel them a little extra, and it's a little different because Venus and Mars don't really go retrograde that often, but Mercury goes retrograde a little bit more often. But just another kind of side note. Anyways, if you are new here, I am Cody. I'm an astrologer. I've been doing these videos, little readings, whatever you want to call them, horoscopes, I've been recording for about a year now, but I've been working on it and studying astrology for the past like 5, maybe 6 years at this point. It's been really exciting doing this, sharing these my content of the horoscopes and stuff like that for you guys. It's been fun. I've been enjoying all the comments. Like everything, like it's just been good. People are loving it. I'm enjoying it. Another thing, I want to advertise the merch. I'm wearing the Pisces merch from last year. Also have the Saturn and Pisces hat right here. So this is the Pisces merch. It's got like a little Jupiter sign and Pisces. I should have new Aquarius and Pisces merch by this month at least. So if it's not out, I'm recording this in January at this point. So I will be releasing new merch soon. The Year of the Snake merch, the Chinese New Year's zodiac, that design is on the website. You can check that out. I will show you where to go. So if you want to follow me on into any social media, mainly I do my work on Instagram, Codifer Verson. So if you want to go to this link right here, the first one, you click on that and you click on the Codifer's astrology.myspreadshop.com. That'll take you to the merch. This is the merch website. I kind of put like a new design. I had this design on there when I like first started the merch, so I kind of brought the old astrology look back or whatever. At this point, I am kind of ending a free standard shipping sale, but I've been kind of having some like trying to figure some stuff out. There's been a lot of changes going on with the whole company and stuff like that, but I think everything's fine. It's just some stuff, whatever, little adjustments that's been going on. But this is the merch. You can check it out. Here's some of the stuff. This is the Chinese zodiac, or yeah, the Chinese zodiac for the year of the snake, which actually doesn't start until the 29th of what is it, January or something like that. But I had to kind of just deal with some stuff, so I was just trying to, you know, put this out a little earlier. But yeah, this is the merch. You can check out all the stuff. There's gonna be you know, new merch coming out very soon. Like I said, Aquarius and Pisces merch are the next two, so hopefully you guys can check that out. My February sale should be out soon. I'm having like a 15% off sale at the end of January or something, but whatever. So yeah, just wanted to show you the merch real quick. Not really the biggest deal, just new merch coming out very soon. If you want to follow me on any social media, Codefer and whatever. So you can also get these videos a little bit early if you want to join my Patreon community, which is just getting exclusive, you know, early access to these videos and stuff like that. Little things that you can do. You know, I'm on Spotify, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Patreon. You know, those three contents is what I really kind of put my work on. Yeah, so I think that's all I got to talk about for the intro. So welcome if you're new. I hope you guys have been liking these videos. I think most of you have, but if you want to see more and stay up to date, hit like, please subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, you know, just in case whenever you come back on YouTube and you notice that I posted a new video. That'll just keep you up to date on all the stuff and just follow me in general. So yeah, okay, I think that's all I gotta say. So let's kind of just jump through the overview. I'll try, I know I say this every month, I'll try to get through this as fast as possible, and this end up maybe just going a little bit longer than I usually do, but whatever, we'll just kind of go through it. A lot of things going on, a lot of things to talk about like always, but let's get into the month of February. So like I said, there's many layers to February. We are also entering the eclipse season by this time, so anything that's been kind of, you know, heating up a little bit when it comes to like any eclipses or whatever, because the North Node and South Node just entered, as you can see here on the screen, Pisces and Virgo. So that's a huge deal as it is, you know. That's like one of the layers, the huge macro layers, storylines that basically started in the month of January, and it's going to continue throughout the rest of the year into like I think the first half of 2026. So we have a long storyline of the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. North Node in Pisces is just kind of just like it's a very it's saying go beyond the mundane stuff. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, let go, let God. This is a spiritual awakening, a spiritual storyline, you could say. I just feel like there's gonna be like the good, bad, and the ugly kind of parts of the Pisces, at least what the North Node is pushing us towards, which can be, you know, good or bad. I mean, it is what it is, you know. And then the South Node in Virgo is trying to tell us, like, maybe in a past life that we were, you know, kind of stuck in the rut, you know, focusing on the details, or we're bringing this into this, you know, part of our storyline, you know, but we have to at least like understand, like, not everything is going to, you know, be like just you're going to figure things out on your own. You know, sometimes we have to like lean towards that North Node and kind of just be guided into wherever we're supposed to go in this lifetime, or the storyline that it's basically going towards. So that's kind of like a little layer of that. Venus is basically starting the month off on top of Neptune and the North Node. So, but she's in her shadow at this point. So yes, this is going to feel good. Like I said, I feel like the last thing when I said, when Venus came to a conjunction with Neptune, it's going to feel like it's good. What did I say? Good. It's going to feel like it's good to, oh my God, I can't even see it. Say it. Too good to be true. That's what I'm trying to say. That's literally what I ended the video for January, but we still have this kind of like going on right now, and having Venus going on over the North Node, it's gonna like emphasize this a little bit too much. So like kind of be careful. Yeah, things are gonna feel like, oh my God, this is like awesome, and like, but Venus is gonna come back over this spot eventually. So just hang on of this. We're going through the Venus retrograde. So, I mean, not everything, if you want to change your relationships, if you want to change your values, if you want to change the way that you relate to others, what you want to attract and all that stuff, this is what this month is going to be about. So if you want any kind of change when it comes to Venusian themes, like really just pay attention and don't just kind of go at it, especially when she gets into Aries, which is basically like the next day or a couple days after. So as we kind of, go through the first couple days of February, the next big highlight is Mercury is coming into a trine with Jupiter, and Jupiter is basically stationing at this time. It's literally stationing on that same day as well, or maybe the 4th or whatever. So we'll just kind of talk about it here. There's Mercury's connecting with the trine to Jupiter as Jupiter stationing. And then like throughout the month, towards the end of the month, Mercury will be in a Pisces, and he'll make a trine to Mars as Mars is stationing too. So I feel like Mercury really has kind of like an important role in this month, as these two planets, Jupiter and Mars, shift their gears and their retrogrades and turn direct. So I would just say pay attention to any messages you're receiving at this point, especially with Jupiter and Mercury. Jupiter is leaning towards its ruler Mercury, and it's showing like Mercury's over there in Aquarius, like, communication is key. We have to be social in a way in certain things or whatever, certain situations, or maybe you're expanding your friendships or your social groups and stuff like that. That could be another layer of what is going on at this point. And there's a good thing, because it's like Jupiter's shifting. It's like, okay, I'm stopped. I'm stationing at this point, 11 degrees, and I am ready to move forward. And it's like Mercury's basically kind of giving Jupiter the green light to say, okay, here you go. Here's a little advice. Here's a little anything that you need in order for you to move forward and stuff like that. It's helping hand in a way. And I feel like that's what Mercury's going to be doing to Jupiter and Mars, and we'll get to that later on. But yeah, Jupiter is stationing direct, 11 degrees. So I've been like kind of looking back at when Jupiter was back at this degree, and it was like in July or something of 2024. So from like July of 2024, I think it was like July 15th when it entered, actually, to get specific, whatever. July like 15th, middle of July, all the way to like the beginning of October is this like Jupiter retrograde territory. So, think about wherever Gemini rules in your chart, like where have you been expanded, or maybe kind of questioning or learning some information about how you need to grow in the next, kind of this storyline that Jupiter's doing. Because Jupiter in Gemini, yeah, it's in detriment. It's not in its favorite sign, but it's trying to at least operate with details. It's trying to operate through communication, through information, through like just sharing ideas and like kind of learning and stuff like that. So at this point, we are like, okay, now we've collected all the data and stuff like that. What's good for us and what's not good for us, and how can we grow from like what we've kind of been dealing with since like the middle of summer, basically last summer into early fall. So that's kind of like the shift or whatever. I mean, if you are a Jupiter ruled sign, Pisces rising, or Jupiter or Sagittarius rising, your ruler is basically going to be waking up at this point. So that's good for you guys. The next big thing is basically Venus is entering the sign of Aries the same day. So yeah, if you watched my 2025 yearly horoscope or whatever, I recorded that, I'm thinking like December or something like that. I talked about this Venus retrograde a little bit more. I mean, yes, we're going to be talking about it like this month and next month and all that stuff. But if you want to kind of like listen to the whole thing for that video, go check that out. That was a really fun video to talk about. But Venus and Aries. So This is another planet in her sign of detriment. Venus is in a Mars ruled sign. It's in the opposite sign of where she normally finds her home energy, which is Libra. But as Venus enters the sign of Aries, yeah, she's going to be very, like, a little impulsive. It's going to be, sparking new life in a way because it's Aries. It's the first zodiac sign. But like I said, she's in her retrograde shadow at this point. So what I was thinking, like, before I was recording this, is kind of just like, yes, Aries is the first, it's the spark of life. It's the start of a new cycle, basically. So as Venus enters Aries, it's like, okay, we're going to be probably like influenced by like wanting to start something new when it comes to relationships, or, wanting to value like something new, or just wanting to maybe chase after a little bit of, what we desire and stuff like that. But because she's in her retrograde shadow, she's going to be slowing down, and then she's going to station retrograde around 10 degrees of Aries, and then she's going to be moving back into the sign of Pisces. So it's kind of like whatever is like sparking your new interest at this point. Like I said, it's too good to be true. So kind of just hang on there. Like, even if things feel like, oh, I'm actually feeling pretty good about this and I'm going to go after it, and then you're going to hit a wall, and it's like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing if the universe kind of stops you in any way. So Venus in Aries, yeah, she's kind of hot. She's sexy. She's a little feisty. She's a little just kind of, having a little adventurous in a way. That's kind of the energy of that. But like I said, she's going to be stationing. So it's like whatever is starting at this time, or you think you want to start, might not be what you need at this point. Because she'll come back to this point in like, what is that, April, I think it is, or whatever. So just kind of hang on there and just wait a little bit, but pay attention of what's going on, what's sparking your interest at this point. Venus basically makes a sextile to Pluto within the next couple days as she's entering Aries. So that could feel very empowering. Yeah, that's kind of hot right there, honestly. But yeah, just kind of pay attention. I mean, it's empowering kind of energy in a way, because Pluto's in Aquarius. It could represent, anybody, social groups, friends, and all that stuff, giving a little bit of a compliment, or, like I said, influence on whatever Venus is like wanting, and it's giving a little bit of power into what we want. So yeah, I mean, that looks good. I mean, it's a little gesture that you could maybe receive in a way when it comes to relationships, or just wanting to feel that spark of life with other people, something like that. It's a little sextile. It's not the biggest thing though. And Mercury's coming into the heart of the sun, which is basically shifting Mercury's, the layer, or where Mercury's going out, because Mercury's direct at this point, and it's coming into the heart of the sun. So we're shifting from whatever we were dealing with to something new in a way. We're on to the next one in a way. So you might receive a message that's like kind of like shifting your vibe, shifting your mind into thinking outside the box, doing stuff a little bit more unique. Just kind of just like, it's literally going, like, it's not Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun. It's like, oh, we're not solving a problem. We're actually just kind of, because Mercury's on the far side of the sun, it's direct. It is like basically ending a chapter and starting a new chapter in a way. That's kind of how you can explain it. So, and basically Mercury and the sun are just on their way towards Pisces at this point. Yeah. So then, okay, then we have, the moon's right here as well. We have Mars coming into a trine with Saturn, and like I said, the moon's there too. So that kind of just puts another layer on top of this Mars trine Saturn aspect. So I don't know exactly when. Maybe it was in like November, I think, the last time Mars made a trine to Saturn. When it was direct or whatever, before it's retrograde. But this is coming back into whatever situation that was going on, maybe in like November or something like that, or October. Mars is in the sign of fall. It's sign of fall, Cancer. It doesn't like to be in this sign, but we have been dealing with Mars in Cancer since last September. So September, October, November, we dealt with Mars in Cancer. Mars just re-entered Cancer in the month of January. It's going to be there January, February, March, and like half of April. So we have about like 3.5 more months of Mars in Cancer. Yeah, this Mars retrograde has not been easy, guys. Honestly, It's not. Like, just to be blunt and frank about that. Like, having Mars in Cancer, yes, it's we have to, kind of take care of what we need to protect. We need to protect our own selves. We need to feel nurtured. We need to just do things that kind of just make us feel safe for the most part. Yeah, I mean, when Mars was in Leo, it was a little better. It had a little bit of extra flair to it, which was kind of manageable because it wasn't in its sign of fall. But having Mars come back to the sign of Cancer, it's been crappy. We're kind of like moving side to side like a crab. We're not kind of, just going wherever. We're like kind of being more cautious in what we're doing. So having Mars coming back into the sign, or coming back into this trine with Saturn and Pisces, there's you can lean towards authority figures to really help you guide you in any direction. If you are needing any help, if you kind of just like any long-term plans that you were kind of thinking about doing around the first time this trine happened between Mars and Saturn a few months ago, maybe just as kind of just like readjusting your or re-strategizing your actions and your desire of what direction you would need to or would like to go to. So just kind of think about that. I mean, it's on our side. Like, Saturn, this is a trine. These are the two malefics working in good hand with each other, and they're both in water signs, so it can feel a little bit wet, a little bit emotional, very internalized, of how we are trying to discipline ourselves before we kind of jump into any action. That's another layer that you could say, because Saturn is about maturity, discipline, restrictions, and stuff like that. So maybe just kind of know your limits and kind of know that, just what direction you need to go towards whenever you are trying to accomplish anything. So it could be good, it could be easy. Mars is basically at its degree of stationing direct at this point, so it's literally building up all of this energy that we have been pulled back, and we're about to be charging forward in a little bit. So once we get to the end of February. But yeah, I can't wait for Mars to be done with this retrograde. I'm over it. I've been dealing with a lot of restrictions and stops in my personal life. I'm sure most of you have too as well. So we're almost done with this long transit, guys. I'm telling you. Anyways, let's continue. So the Sun and Mercury, the Sun and Mercury are coming into a square with Uranus. This could feel a little bit out of the blue. This could shake up your routines in some way, even if it's good or bad or whatever. That's just Uranus. It's really unpredictable. It's about shock and awe. It can create just explosions out of nowhere, literal and figuratively. So just kind of watch out for that. And before, I just kind of want to just mention the whole situations that's been going on in California. It makes no sense. And I really hope, if anybody's living out there or wherever, I hope everything's good for you guys. My prayers are in your within you. I'm sending my prayers. I'm sending any kind of love and just whatever guidance is for out there, because it's insane. I don't know what's going on. There's so many things that are going on. When Pluto went into Aquarius, that whole revolution happening with the CEO getting shot or whatever the heck that was, and then we had, I don't know, there's been a bunch of stuff, and then on New Year's we had some huge accident happened in New Orleans and stuff like that. It was just, and then now we're dealing with these fires and stuff. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm trying to just live and survive as much as everybody else is, but it's there's just so much disasters going on around here, and I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of talk about that and just mention it, because it's all right, guys. I know we will get through it, no matter even if you've lost everything. I'm sorry to hear about that. It's not, we're not dealing with a lot of good astrology right now. The astrology is telling us there's just so much, and it's still coming. We're going to be dealing with a lot more stuff right now. So I just kind of wanted to take a moment to send my prayers out to those people. It's crazy. It does not make any sense, and I really hope everything gets better for you guys. So kind of prayers there. But anyways, back to the planet squaring Uranus. I mean, it just kind of just reminded me of it because I feel like I'm not saying like something else is gonna happen at this time because this could be something personal and just a little shake up in your life, so whatever. But it could be globally in a way, so I don't know. Just kind of be careful around that because we're building up to this full moon in Leo, and it's gonna be kind of in the mix of this T-square going on with Mercury and the Sun squaring Uranus. So, yeah, I mean, peak moment of the month. This is when the energy is at its like highest. The moon is reflecting whatever is going on in the sign of Aquarius right now. So it's kind of like showing you the individual versus the crowd. But in the middle of it, Uranus is in the mix, trying to like shake everything up. So this could be some type of breakthrough, which could be good or bad. Maybe we need some type of breakthrough. I don't know. It's not my decision to say, but I'm just telling you this is what could happen and stuff like that. So yeah, full moon Leo. Yeah, it's bold. It's enthusiastic. Emotions are gonna be like up a notch. It's Leo, so I mean, like, yeah, I mean the sun's in its it's in its sign of detriment. Like we have the sun in detriment, Venus in detriment, Jupiter in detriment. These planets are not really working at its best right now in this month. So until they kind of switch into the Pisces realm, it will get a little better in a way. But yeah. So the full moon in Leo, it's going to be around, what is it, like 24 degrees or something like that. So just kind of take it easy around that time. Let's see, anything else I want to say? But yeah, okay, let's just move on. Okay, so and then the next thing is basically Mercury's going into Pisces. That's going to be another interesting layer to talk about because Mercury is going to be doing retrograde very soon. As soon as he gets into Pisces, that's kind of like where it's going to be happening at, because Venus and Mercury are literally going to follow the same steps, go into Aries, station in Aries, station retrograde in Aries, and then move back into the sign of Pisces over the next month or two. And as we're talking about like all this stuff like here, like there's going to be all these planets like here, like Neptune is here, Saturn's here, Mercury and Venus are going to be right here, and Neptune and Saturn are going to be basically doing the same thing. They're going to enter Aries later on this summer, and then they're going to station retrograde and go back into the sign of Pisces. So just kind of pay attention to what's going on in like this like first decan of Aries and like last decan of Pisces and stuff like that, like because these planets are going to just be moving back and forth and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting as we kind of go through this. But as we go back to Mercury and Pisces, Mercury's in a sign of fall in the sign of Pisces. It's not working as good. Another planet in detriment or fall, whatever, but whatever. Mercury is in a Jupiter ruled sign. Mercury in Pisces is weird. It is not clear communication. It is like communicating more internally and communicating, like explaining things in like shapes and forms. You're going to have to just be a little bit more imaginative, but you're going to have a little bit of a deep emotional connection in a way. And like you're trying to like explain some guidance to something, but it's kind of hard to explain it. But you just kind of have this knowing. You have this feeling deep inside that, you know, what you are thinking about is like what you're like trying to understand or process or whatever. But when you're trying to like communicate it, it doesn't really come out as clear. So it's weird. And I don't know, like I just feel like this Mercury in Pisces retrograde is going to be kind of annoying in a way. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a heads up. So that's Mercury in Pisces. It's weird, but there's a lot of other stuff that it's like that's going on at this time. So whatever. And then the sun goes into Pisces the next day or two, whatever. So at least the sun gets out of its sign of detriment. The solar vitality energy kind of gets a little bit little better in a way. So yeah, but then we have this like Pisces buildups, this Pisces stellium building up at this point too. So that's a very important, like Pisces is going to be very focused this month, next month, a little bit of Aries as well too. So yeah, you are the spotlight this month, Pisces, I swear. So the sun in Pisces, I mean, yeah, we're getting ready for spring, basically. We're at the end of winter. Times are changing. The seasons are changing. So it's warming up a little bit each day at a time. This is the last sign of the whole zodiac, so this is kind of like where everything kind of falls into place. It's ending old cycles, it's like shifting into new cycles. Pisces is a very just like blendable sign, blendable, adaptable. They're kind of like a sponge. They just kind of just absorb whatever environment they are. Like they are just kind of put themselves in that whatever space or whatever. So it's a little interesting. But be more imaginative, be more, more emotionally connected to people, spiritually connected in a way. It's just gonna heighten the spiritual connections in a way. So, let's see. Okay, so, and then Mercury is building up to a square with Jupiter, which is gonna be kind of annoying, actually, because Jupiter is in a Mercury ruled sign, but Mercury is in a Jupiter ruled sign. So in a way, this is kind of like mutual reception, but Mercury's in the superior position. It's not really communicating clear at this point. Jupiter is kind of looking for that clear, detailed information, but he's not getting it because Mercury is just like kind of like speaking through forms, emotions, saying this, but then meaning this, and it's just like Jupiter's like, I'm not getting like the information that you were processing. Like I don't understand. It's not like connecting the dots in a way. But like I feel like in another layer, this could kind of be like Mercury trying to be more open-minded, or just kind of just saying like, let loose, Jupiter. Like it doesn't matter. Like when Venus was squaring Jupiter, I was saying like, I mean that could be fun, but like Jupiter was kind of just like in retrograde at that point, and it was just like it wasn't connecting the dots of what Venus was trying to maybe clash with Jupiter. It wasn't seeing eye to eye, but Venus was just like, come, let's just let loose, let's just enjoy what we can. So in a way, this is kind of the same thing, but it's Mercury. It's the way we process information, it's the way we communicate, but it's not communicating very clearly. But it kind of has the upper hand in a way. So it's like, what? Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? I don't know. But it's something there, though. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, the sun's going to eventually form a square to Jupiter, I believe, in March. So it'll continue that trend. I don't think it'll be that weird, though, because it's the sun. But having Mercury, though, it's just... Maybe you're getting... Like I said, it's just like maybe you're getting a message from somebody, and you literally have no clue what they're talking about. But they're like... This is what's important. And you're just like, what? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Or you're just, somebody's talking in like a foreign language or something, says something that doesn't make any sense at all. That's kind of what I would say there. But just have an open mind in a way. That's kind of what I would say, because Mercury does have the upper hand in this point. So, yeah, that square is going to be weird for the most part. So I wrote down Neptune conjunct the North Node, but this has kind of been going on since January. So, I mean, this is just all month, all through January, all through February, maybe a little bit in March and stuff like that. But Neptune on the North Node is like cranking up our, what we want to dream about. Our idealism is just really turned up a notch on how we want to view everything. We might get too lost in the sauce. I would say that's a huge thing. But like I said, whenever the North Node enters Pisces, it's already like going over Neptune and then eventually going over Saturn. And then Mercury's going to be stationing on the North Node and entering its pre-shadow on the North Node. Venus is going to come back on the North Node. Like, these planets are just like going over this North Node, and there's just so much like going on with this North Node right now, like throughout the month of February, a little bit in January too, and into March as well. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Like, all I can say is like, yeah, like our dreams, our fantasies, our illusions, deception in general is going to be cranked up a notch, which could be good and which can be very, very negative. And so just kind of be careful, just what's going on here. I mean, like I said, with Venus, it's going to be too good to be true. And it's just like, you're not sure, but this is like the universe saying like, just let go, let yourself be guided, basically. That's all it's really saying, especially when it connects to Neptune, right? So it's just like, let go of all this stuff. Let's just kind of just be guided and just, let God do its job, or let the universe do whatever it's trying to put all the puzzle pieces in order or something, or putting your ducks in a row, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, dream big. Dream big. Neptune on the North Node in Pisces. Dream as big as possible. That's literally it. So maybe this will pay off later on in the year. So just kind of think about that. And then we get into Mercury coming into a trine with Mars, as Mars is basically stationing. Like I said earlier, when Mercury made a trine to Jupiter, that was when Jupiter was stationing. So it's kind of like giving a helping hand to Jupiter as Jupiter is like changing directions. This is the same thing, like I mentioned, what Mercury's doing to Mars. But for this instance, Mercury's in the sign of its fall. Mars is in the sign of its fall as well. So these two planets are in like rock bottom, and they're like kind of communicating in a more emotional way, understanding things more internally. And it's kind of working. It will work in our favor as kind of this transit progresses, because Mars is basically stopped. He's about to station, direct? It says the next day, so we're going to count that. So Mars is done now. Mars is done. So Mercury coming into a trine with Mars. Mercury's in Pisces, trying to communicate more, emotionally, internally, like I said, shapes and forms, not making any kind of clear sense, but it's very empathetic. It's very empathetic. That's the good thing about Mercury and Pisces. They are very empathetic. They are very compassionate. You could say they're romantic in a way if you're into that, if it comes down to that situation or whatever, but they're very empathetic people. They feel what other people are feeling in a way. I mean, maybe any Pisces planet, like Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, whatever, any of that stuff, you can actually feel more empathetic towards other people. But having Mercury here, it's like, yeah, even though Mercury's not really communicating very well, but it's trying to at least help Mars out. And Mars is like, I'm amped up, I'm ready to go, I am charged up, let's just go, go, go. I'm ready for this. Like, it's been pulled back up to this point since what? December 6th, I think it was. Excuse me. So from December 6th up to this point, February 24th, was the Mars retrograde. But if you're looking back at this, like where Mars was at 17 degrees at first, was in the beginning of October. So think, what was going on? What was starting at that point or whatever in the beginning of October when when Mars entered its pre-retrograde shadow territory? Because we're back at that point again. We are back in October territory, and now we gotta just, maybe do things better this time, or whatever situation that was going on. Maybe you wanted to go in one direction at this point, and then you were stopped. And this is kind of like the reviewing process of like what you had to adjust to before you were actually able to go down this pathway, this direction or whatever. So at this point, yes, like kind of Mercury is like kind of giving Mars a little bit of like upper hand. It's like, hey, you got this. It's just like kind of amping him up in a way. It's like, just go for it, do it more emotionally, like put your emotions into the actions you take. Make it count in a way and stuff like that. That's kind of how I'm seeing this. Like it's like I said, Mercury kind of has like an important role as he's connecting to these planets via trine. So, but yeah, Mars is done with this retrograde at this point. From now on until like May, we're good. So, but look at like whatever's been stopped, whatever actions that you've been, or I should say delayed, that's a better word. Whatever has been delayed from you or for all of us since like October, we're back at this point again, but this time we are good to go. We are getting the green light to literally go again. So we don't have to deal with Mars retrograde until like another another year and a half or whatever. I think it's gonna be like the winter of 2026 into 2027 the next time Mars will go retrograde, and it's gonna be in the sign of Leo and Virgo at that point. So kind of think about what was going on when Mars was in the sign of Leo, kind of testing our confidence, testing our like enthusiastic, testing our performance, of what was going on. So just think about that, because we're going to come back to that the next time Mars goes retrograde. It's going to be in Virgo, and then it's going to go back and do mainly its retrograde in Leo. So I just feel like that'll be kind of like connected through like what was going on this time around. So, but yeah, Mars is direct. Thank God, right? But it's going to take some time. It takes some weeks before Mars speeds up a little bit. But at least Mars has the get-go of like, we're not in retrograde anymore. We can charge. We have all of this built up energy that we have been just like sucked up, that we just like, okay, we're done. I am ready to go. Let's just charge forward. And that's what Mars does. Mars doesn't like to be in retrograde. So when it's pulled back, it's very frustrating. It's very annoying for the most part. You want to go fast, but you have to slow down. You have to sit back and kind of just let things like just do its thing in a way. So that's kind of it. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like, you know, Venus is basically at 10 degrees about the station retrograde. You could say forming a square because they're 7 degrees apart. So, I mean, sign-based, Aries and Cancer square each other. So, like this is going to be a little interesting. Because, I mean, Venus is in this sign of Mars. And she's kind of like, she's looking towards Mars for, like, any answers or any help or whatever. And Mars is in Cancer. It's like, I'm not doing that well right now. So, it's, like, kind of hard for Venus to really do anything. But this is, I feel like, I don't know, just something I just wanted to mention. But yeah, Venus, we're at the end of the month. Venus is stationing retrograde, or about to station in the next few days. But let's see. Let's continue. We have a few more things to talk about before we end the month. Mercury's coming up to a conjunction with Saturn, which happens around the 25th of February. So, I mean, they're kind of like still trining Mars, but that's not what we're talking about. So Mercury conjunct Saturn. There's going to be some type of message being, relayed to you or sent to you or whatever, or you're hearing a message from an authority figure, or you have to kind of like discipline yourself in a way, or, restrict certain communications when it comes to maybe communicating to authority figures or just to anybody in general. Like Saturn and Pisces has been trying to like internalize our world and internalize and discipline our internal world in a way. It's trying to discipline our internal life, like who we are inside. Having Mercury kind of come up to a conjunction with Saturn, I mean, it's going to be Mercury's not in the best position right now. So it's like you're getting a message from, I don't know, anybody, and it's kind of not making sense. You're like, I'm being told this, but what does that mean? Like, that's kind of what I'm like getting from that. Like, it's like you're being told something by an authority figure and you literally have no idea what they are talking about. And it's going to be confusing in a way. But what you can do is, sit there, listen to whatever you're getting, whatever information you are processing. Kind of sit with it, internalize that feeling, internalize that, it's not logical, it's not in like if Mercury was in the Virgo, it can be more rational, it can be more logical, it can really connect the dots of what it's being processed. But having in the sign of Pisces, it's just like, it's not going to be clear. It's more internalized. It's a more spiritual kind of vibe to it. So I don't know. Mercury conjunct Saturn, you got to get serious about something, even though it's not going to make sense, I would say. I don't know. It could be anything, honestly. But that's kind of what I would explain it to. So, and then Mercury's basically coming towards the North Node, where it will begin its retrograde shadow phase, which doesn't happen until like the last day of the month. So, excuse me. Pardon me, guys. Anyways, you can also buy these water bottles on the shop too, which are really nice. Just wanted to mention that. Anyways, okay. So the next big thing is basically we're just coming up to this new moon happening in Pisces, which I've been kind of looking at. I mean, the North Node's there, Neptune's there, Mercury's there, Saturn's there. Like, this stellium is huge right now. You could probably say this is a partial solar eclipse. You could probably say it's not. I don't know. You decide. But we'll just say it is. You know, this is kind of like the first solar eclipse, or partial, whatever you want to call it, in the sign of Pisces. We had a partial lunar eclipse. I believe it was 6 months from this point. And that was when the North Node was like at the end of Aries, and the moon was like on top of Neptune, like right next to the node. It was like partially kind of eclipsed in a way, but yeah. So this is going to be the first like full new moon partial solar eclipse in Pisces. So this is going to have more effects 6 months as we progress in the next 6 months. So whatever intentions you are starting at this point, you know, think Pisces. Being imaginative, dreams, fantasies, illusions, just kind of getting more spiritual, letting things just kind of guide you towards wherever you are meant to be. That is literally Pisces. So, yeah. And then Mercury's basically coming into its retrograde shadow. It's starting its retrograde shadow at this point, territory, whatever you want to call it, cycle. So yeah, Mercury will come back to this point in about maybe a month or something. It's on the North Node, so listen kind of to what's going on. That's another like message being received, or you're thinking about something that's really kind of faded by whatever you want to create for your future, or wherever just destiny is just calling for you. Basically, that's kind of what that aspect is all about. So that's the month of February, guys, basically. So interesting month, kind of like things are beginning at this point, but there's also layers of slowing down on top of that. And it's just like this eclipse season is just building up, especially as we get to this new moon in Pisces. As soon as we get into Pisces season, it's just like full on eclipse season. We'll eventually have a lunar eclipse, full moon, south node on. Okay, I can't talk. We'll eventually have full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, I believe 2 weeks from this point. So, but that'll be in March. So that's March. I mean, that's March. Yeah, we'll get into March. March is an interesting month too. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to talk about as we get to that. So, let's see. Yeah, if you like the video, and this is kind of a quick overview, but if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe. We are going to shift into the horoscopes part of this video. So if you are ready for that, then let's dive in. I hope you guys enjoyed the overview. February is an interesting month. Okay. So we'll start with, you know, with Aries and stuff like that. And what I usually do is talk about the rising signs. So, I mean, yes, you can follow for whatever sun sign you are. That's your choice or whatever. But if you actually know your rising sign, you know the time of birth and the day you were born in the city or town or whatever, you calculate all that stuff online. That'll tell you exactly. You need to know the time though. That'll tell you what your rising sign is. And it's better to understand your rising sign, whatever, if you're looking at whole sign house systems or Placidus house systems, which I use both for the most part. I usually kind of focus on Placidus if I'm like looking at somebody's chart. That'll give you more accurate, but that's just what I work with. You can work with any kind of house systems or whatever, but yeah. But if you're, it's mainly for rising signs. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. Anyways, Aries. So if you are an Aries rising, wow. I mean, this month is kind of, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, you know, maybe in the subconscious realm for you at this point, and it's going to be continuing at this point throughout the month of February, March, maybe a little into April or something like that. But yeah, a lot of stuff is just kind of just going on in the background. So very, very interesting month for you guys. The first thing happening is basically Jupiter is stationing direct in your third house. So whatever's been going on since like last July, you know, when Jupiter's going through this part of chart for you guys, you know, what has been expanded for you? What have you had to go over and review in order to expand in this realm of life for you? Third house, you know, third house is about, you know, your local immediate environment, It can represent your neighborhood. It can represent the transportation that you usually use, which could represent a car or any kind of transportation that you normally do for errands, your daily routines and stuff like that. It can also represent siblings, short-term trips, education, learning anything, communicating in general, social media, your social circle, not only on social media, but just like close friends and stuff like that you normally kind of connect with. Any writing projects, rituals, anything to do with like interacting, relatives and stuff like that. Kind of think about those topics and like how things have changed for you and how you have grown through all these opportunities, basically, because that's what Jupiter is all about, opportunities. So now that Jupiter is stationing direct, it's like, okay, now we understand what opportunities we can at least focus on if you want to go after them and stuff like that. So kind of think of what's been growing around this point, because wherever Jupiter is, it is planting a seed and letting that expand over time. So kind of think about all that stuff. Venus is entering your sign, your first house of Aries, around the same day. So yes, this is gonna create a more Venusian look to you. It's going to bring a little bit of beauty in a way that's very hot, very, fiery, feisty in a way. So that's kind of what you're going to be attracting to. Like, you're going to present that in your personality in a way. So, but Venus is going to be stationing retrograde at this point, like soon throughout the month. So kind of just like you're giving like a new opportunity to present a way in your personality that's very, very bold, very adventurous, very just hot and sexy in a way. She's in her sign of detriment, but that's just another thing to talk about. But yeah, but Venus is going to be stationing retrograde. So pay attention to what's going on, of how you're presenting, of who you're attracting to, how you express your love and stuff like that, what you are valuing, because it's going to be shifted in throughout the next month or so. And then it'll go back into Pisces eventually, but that's something else to talk about another time. And then we have this full moon happening in, where are we at? Okay. Full moon happening. Oh man. Full moon's happening in your 5th house. So there's a completion, a culmination, something is being illuminated around your 5th house topics, which is about, creativity, something to do with children, your self-expressions, what you find enjoyable, pleasures, romance, dating, inspiration, stuff like that, entrepreneurship. That's kind of just being, put to it's being shined at its brightest. Of what's going on over here opposite you in the 11th house with Mercury and the Sun. So the planets are in your 11th house, focusing on groups of people, friends, hopes and dreams, aspirations and stuff like that. So it's shining all of this stuff onto this 5th house area for you, and the moon is reflecting all that stuff. So it's like you need to kind of like understand what kind of groups you are putting yourself into and how you can emotionally perform and balance that out with what you find enjoyable and stuff like that. So kind of finding out what's good for you, like balancing out enjoyment with connecting with others in a way. It's kind of like, it's like performing for the crowd, and that's kind of a 5th house, 11th house kind of thing. And then Mercury goes into your 12th house, followed by the Sun, basically. So this Pisces Stellium is building up in your 12th house. So a lot of spiritual things going on, a lot of subconscious things are going on as well. So kind of just, pay attention to your dreams or whatever is going on behind the scenes. Maybe you want to meditate and just get a little bit more spiritual. That'll be probably the best thing to do for you, Aries, because all this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you have no idea what's going on, but you feel it. You feel something internalizing your awareness in a way. So kind of just think about that. Maybe secluding yourself, isolating yourself, all that stuff. Yes, it's going to be kind of like the time right before your season too. So there's cycles that are ending. New cycles will eventually emerge as we get to March into Aries season, like March and April. So just kind of, you know, think about that. I mean, you know, just think about that. You know, get spiritual if you need to. Isolate yourself. Release old skin, like shed old skin in a way. That's kind of like the cycle's ending in a way. A lot of stuff is ending at this point, and if you're dealing with any addictions or whatever, this could be a good time to really, you know, address those or try to heal any mental health and stuff like that. Mental health is a very 12th house type of thing, so just kind of just focus on what's going on internally for you over this next month. And then that's kind of where we end. Your ruler, which is a good thing, is stationing direct. So that's good. That's good for you. You're ruled by Mars, but it's in your 4th house of Cancer, and it's in a sign of fall. So it's good, but it's still in a place where it's not very comfortable. So yeah, you're done with the whole retrograde thing, but once he starts moving and getting out of Cancer, you will feel like yourself again. So just kind of hang in there. And then we basically get the new moon in Pisces. New moon in Pisces, so, you know, this huge stellium is happening. This is like an extra layer of like releasing old, you know, baggage, releasing old cycles, releasing anything to do with like 12th house themes, you know. Like I said, maybe you need to release any addictions, excuse me, or just really heal your health, you know, get more emotional, understand what's going on internally, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes for you, like I keep saying. And then Mercury's going to start its retrograde cycle towards the end of the month, so just kind of pay attention of like, that's another layer that we could talk about, but we'll talk more about that in March. So that's kind of that's the month for you, February. So it's kind of an interesting month, but let's move on. Okay, for Taurus risings. So what's going on in Taurus risings? So a lot of things is just this stellium is happening, building up in your 11th house at this point. Just, you know, groups of friends. You're blending into these people. You're blending into all this, you know, stuff that's really giving you many opportunities. Maybe, you know, more, your aspirations are really just kind of like, you know, reaching a high note at this point, or will be. A lot of things are getting very spiritual in this part of the chart for you. So kind of pay attention what's going on for you when it comes to, you know, this stuff. It's going to be building up, you know, January it's been building up, February it's been building up, March and April and stuff like that. You're going to have a lot of stuff around this like 12th house, not 12th house, but 11th house, and a little bit of the 12th house as well going on here. So just really pay attention. A lot of shifts happening in the way you're operating in groups and stuff like that, or just connecting with friends and all that kind of fun stuff. So Jupiter is stationing direct in your 2nd house. So any opportunities that have been presented to you when it comes to like financial stuff, like personal security in general, what you are, like your worth ethic, anything to do with like agriculture, or what you are providing for yourself, or just providing for just what kind of security that you need. Like you need a place to live, you need you need to focus on your priorities on all that stuff. So any information, any details, anything that you've been learning since last summer, since Jupiter's been here, this is going to be a good time to understand what is good for you in order to grow, and what is not good for you to in order to grow. So yeah, just kind of pay attention to that. Maybe your finances will be expanding or growing at this point, or it has, or maybe you want to make more investments and stuff like that, and just kind of put your money into more things in order to enjoy more values, you know, priorities or possessions and stuff like that. That's kind of how that is happening. That's going on at that point. So very interesting. And then Venus goes into your 12th house of Aries the same day. So like I mentioned, Venus will eventually go into her retrograde cycle in this point of the chart for you. So just kind of pay attention. I mean, yeah, you might be wanting to lay low on certain ways of expressing love, just dealing with any relationships in general, all that kind of stuff, because it's going to be going under review as we enter March, basically. But pay attention this month, because it's going to be very important to like really know what's going on, or what you're going to be dealing with when it comes to Venus, your ruler, I should say. So your ruler is going to go under review, but pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on internally for you. Pay attention to dreams. Maybe, you know, write notes about what you're feeling and stuff like that, because you might want to have this spark of life, but behind the scenes, but you might second guess yourself in a way. Okay, and then we get to this full moon in Leo, which is happening in your 4th house. The full moon could be a little chaotic. It's in this T-square with Uranus as well. Unpredictability, maybe around, you know, there's going to be probably unpredictable stuff happening around the home, maybe in your career as well, or just public life and internal in your private space and your public life are going to be in like this kind of push-pull battle. You're trying to find some balance between work and your personal life. But then Uranus is kind of in the middle, is the focal point, which is shaking a little bit of and all this energy off, and it's a part of who you are. It's a part of how you are presenting yourself or your impressions to other people. So you could have a little bit of impact of what's going on in your public and personal life, of maybe something you need to change and break out of or something like that. So kind of be careful, you know. And then all these planets go into Pisces, your 11th house and stuff like that. So this stellium just, you know, kind of just builds up a little bit more, focusing on dreams, aspirations, groups of people, friends and stuff like that, all that kind of fun stuff, opportunities. So it's just adding more layers on this, you know, groups of friends and stuff like that. So let's see. And then Mars will station direct in your 3rd house. So things to do with, you know, short-term trips, things going on in your like local neighborhood, your local environment, anything to do with like interactions, communicating with people, dealing with siblings, relatives, education, writing projects, maybe transportation and stuff like that. Like maybe that's been a little bit of adjustments and that you needed to kind of go back over and fix, maybe take care of certain things that you did not want to take care of in the realm of the 3rd house and stuff like that. But from now on, you are fully charged on whatever it is that you've been kind of backed up into and pulled back, because this is the point where you can finally move forward from all of that stuff or whatever. Mars retrograde is over at that point. And then we have a new moon in Pisces, and Mercury is basically going into its shadow, pre-retrograde shadow at this point. So a lot of things refreshing, a lot of things ending at this point, maybe giving you new opportunities that will present itself over the course of the next maybe 6 months, or maybe the next few months as well. So that's kind of the month for you Tauruses. Okay, for Gemini risings, everything's just kind of been building up in your 10th house. So a lot of things going on in your public life, maybe many changes, or you will be experiencing many changes in your public life or in a career that you are doing. So big stellium happening. The first thing basically is going on is Jupiter is stationing direct in your 1st house. So yeah, the what you've been blessed by since Jupiter has been in Gemini, your 1st house, since last May, this should be another turning point, another good thing. Because I mean, Jupiter has been in retrograde. It's trying to understand the details, or trying to communicate information in a way that's very not so Jupiterian, but trying to just collect the data and understand what's good for you in order to grow. You are you have Jupiter in your first house, which is about impressions, your personality, how you are, you know, basically showing people who you are and stuff like that. So what maybe there's been a lot of growth in this area, or you've been kind of presented in this area with this all of this Jupiterian stuff, but now it's the time to really just kind of have faith and just be like, you know what, let's just kind of go with it, you know, even if, you know, if Jupiter doesn't like feel as Jupiterian because it's in the sign of detriment, it is still trying to give you the best blessings as best as possible, basically. So yeah, your personality will be blessed from this point on until it enters Cancer later on this summer. But this should be a good point, though, turning point. And then Venus enters Aries, which is in your 11th house. So pay attention to this 11th house and 10th house area, because that's where Venus is going to be stationing retrograde and going back over. But yeah, Venus in Aries, I mean, yeah, she's very hot, very, you know, very venturous in a way. So maybe, you know, you want to be a little bit more adventurous when it comes to working with other people, spending time with friends, and just having a little bit of fun. Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be slowing down. So just kind of just hold off, you know, really focus on what's going on this month, because it's going to be going in review as we get to March. So just kind of hang on here. Then we have the full moon in Leo. So this is just, you know, peak month of the month, middle of the month. Full moon in Leo, it's in your 3rd house. So I mean, something is being eliminated when it comes to something in your immediate environment, what you're communicating, being social about, maybe dealing with siblings or whatever. The sun's in your 9th house over here. So I mean, maybe something to do with like traveling, might be a little bit of a tug of war or something, or what you're trying to do. Maybe you want to go out there, but it's like you're focused on whatever is going on in your immediate environment. Uranus is in a T-square over here, so it's kind of like shaking up a little bit of something's going on, maybe behind the scenes, and then it just kind of like makes you feel a little bit over emotional when it comes to, like, I don't know, trying to travel or just trying to be social in some way. Just kind of watch out for that. And then the planets go into your 10th house, which is just focusing on your public life, career, your status, reputation, responsibilities, and all that kind of fun stuff, I guess, right? So, but yeah, this stellium is just building up more. So just kind of just focus on, there's a lot of spiritual things going on in your career life or your public life. So just kind of just let things play out the way it's supposed to play out, and try not to force things as much as possible. That's what I would say. And then we get Mars stationing direct. So Mars is stationing direct in your 2nd house. So anything that's been kind of backed up when it comes to like personal finances and just like your possessions and values and stuff like that, you are finally getting the green light to like say, okay, I'm going to have all this energy to just do what I can to protect my security, what I need, protect myself, protect any possessions and stuff like that. But yeah, this is just gonna give you the energy to really kind of, you know, charge forward and, you know, maybe start focusing on little things that you need before you can move forward over the next couple months. Like I said, it's about security. It's about what you need. It could be about, you know, your work ethic, what you are putting into your body in a way, kind of just stuff like that. But maybe you're just focusing on, you know, earning more money, and you have all the energy to do all that stuff by now. So that's a cool thing. And then that's kind of how we end the month. I mean, and then we get this new moon happening in Pisces. Mercury's entering its pre-shadow retrograde at that point. So a lot of things refreshing in your public life. So just kind of just hang in there. I mean, it could be challenging, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be like easy, but I mean, there's always challenges to these transits. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. Refreshing anything that's in your public life or career. Let go of things that you don't need no more. So we are on to Cancer risings. Okay, so we're basically starting the month. Everything's kind of in your ninth house, building up this like huge stellium in your ninth house. So if you are dreaming of traveling far or just traveling in general, sorry about that. Anyways, if you are dreaming about traveling or like trying to like have this spiritual kind of awakening in your ninth house, which is really kind of like expanding your horizons, and when it comes to just like learning education or like just expanding your mind, learning new like religious stuff, like principles in a way, foreign things, higher education, if you are interested in taking higher educational courses or whatever, just expanding your degree in general, taking care of any legal matters or just any kind of justice in a way. That's kind of what's going on here. And there's going to be a lot of things shifting and changing at this point for you. A little bit in your 10th house and mainly in your 9th house of Pisces. So kind of just pay attention of what's going on. Jupiter is stationing direct in your 12th house. So, that's cool. If you have been getting a little bit more spiritual, even if it's been a little bit difficult trying to understand little information or details about certain things. But I'm sure at this point you've kind of understood what's good and what's not good in order for you to grow when it comes to connecting to a higher source, kind of healing any mental health or whatever, letting go of any addictions or just isolating yourself as much as possible in order to feel guided or to have that faith that what Jupiter is providing in your 12th house. So that's very interesting. Venus is going into your 10th house. Like I said, this whole Aries Pisces situation going on, these planets going back and forth, like pay attention. Yes, Venus is in your 10th house. She's kind of initiating something. She wants to be more bold. She wants to be more courageous and adventurous when it comes to just being out in public or just finding a little bit more respect or demanding respect in your career. That's kind of like a Venus 10th house situation. But yeah, Venus is going to go retrograde eventually. So this is just little things building up. We'll talk about it once we get through these months. But these are just little Easter eggs, I should say, little puzzle pieces, getting our ducks in a row. And then we basically have the full moon in Leo happening in your second house. So the sun and Mercury are in your 8th house at the moment. And they're basically, just kind of focusing on like shared resources, investing, putting your money into other things, trying to invest stuff, intimacy, all that kind of fun stuff or whatever. The moon reflecting full moon in your second house is just kind of just showing you what you need and what you don't need in a way. Releasing old ways of possessions, releasing old ways of like handling money. Or just showing you what you actually need. Uranus is in the mix. It's forming a T-square, so there's going to be some shakeups when it comes to communities, your money, and investing with other people's money in a way. That's kind of what I would maybe say about that. Then the planets move into your 9th house, building up this stellium and stuff like that. So, your horizons are going to be expanded at this point. It's just going to be a big month, maybe for you Cancers. Okay, and then that's when Mars Mars is stationing direct at this point, so that's kind of good. I would be a little excited if I were you Cancer risings. You gotta get Mars out of your sign. So, but since it's been in this sign, it's been probably uncomfortable. Maybe you've had a much more frustrated personality, or how you have been impressing others hasn't really been, top notch. It's you've probably been on your guard for most of this retrograde, which kind of sucks. But at this point, there's kind of we've all been on our guard in a way. We all have been more defensive and stuff like that. So it's kind of not been the most easiest time for any of us. But I know Cancer's been going through it, but at this point, you're good. It will get better at this point after this. So then we have a new moon as we end the month in Pisces, refreshing the energies to ninth house themes, traveling, dreams, like legal matters, truths, traveling. I just said traveling, of higher education, all that kind of stuff is just being reformed, reviewed, and let go, and new cycles are emerging. And Mercury is entering its shadow at this point. So pay attention to what happens as we get into March, which we will talk about more. But yeah, that's when Mercury's retrograde is going to start at this point. So let's move on to Leos. Okay, so Leos, a lot of things just kind of just building up in your 8th house at this point. Other people's money, other people's, resources, shared, like investments, intimacy, and all that kind of stuff is just building up. This is just gonna be the main focus for the month of February for you guys. So if you're trying to pay off debt, trying to go through some death, rebirth, you guys are going through some type of transformation, death or rebirth kind of process right now, or you will be as this over the next couple months. So just kind of hang in there, guys. A lot of things going on. Jupiter is stationing direct in your 11th house, so anything to do with like groups of people, colleagues, friends, earning huge financial gains from your career, all of the data that you've collected and gone over and reviewed and stuff like that should be more manageable of what you need to do in order to grow from this point on. So everything that's been going on since like last summer into fall, that's been the whole reviewing process. Now we're back at that point and you kind of are understanding it. You are aware of these themes, and now you can actually gain the benefits one more time for what's good for you. You're getting more opportunities at this point. Jupiter likes to be in the 11th house, so that's a little extra blessing for you guys. So it's very cool. Then Venus enters your 9th house of Aries the same day. So Venus is going to be going retrograde in this point of chart. It's going to go back into your 8th house of Pisces eventually. So just kind of pay attention of what's going on, especially as we get to this point. You're going to want to expand your horizons. That's what you're going to be valuing, all that kind of fun stuff. But you're going to be stopped in a way. You might want to travel, you might want to meet people that are kind of foreign from you. But that's kind of not where you are going at this time. So it might feel good to be true, but just kind of hang on. You're gonna understand this once we're back at this point in the next couple months, guys. So it might feel good because the fire is back. That's one thing that I'm excited for, but and then basically we are moving towards the full moon in your sign, Leos. So yeah, you are going to be emotionally like flaring up at this point. You are going to be illuminated. The way you are, the way you present your personality, the way you impress others will be, kind of nice. You're getting that moon in your 1st house. It's in your sign. You're very bold, adventurous, and way. There's going to be some kind of shakeup going on with Uranus, the moon, and these guys over here. 7th house, 10th house, 1st house, relationships, career, reputation, responsibilities, who you are, how you are presenting your role in the world and stuff like that. A lot of shakeups here, but just kind of take it easy when it comes to dealing with anybody, even if it's contracts in general. Just kind of hold up. Don't overreact. That's what I'll say. Then everything moves into your 8th house of Pisces, and then we're basically going towards the end of the month. So that's kind of when Mars is stationing direct in your 12th house, which is good. It's in your 12th house. It's a little weird, little interesting. You're kind of passive aggressive, kind of like not really knowing like what's going on. But if you take like spiritual pathways, spiritual directions, or you just have that guidance, that will the universe will guide you in certain ways. And you've probably been dealing with this for a while. So at this point, it is going to be going uphill from here. So that is a good thing. And then, like I said, the new moon in Pisces happening in your 8th house. huge stellium happening when it comes to like 8th house themes, shared resources, intimacy, debts, loans, paying off, I just said that, death, rebirth, and stuff like that. Huge transformational time. Psychological connections. If you're dealing with like mortgages or whatever, or whatever kind of refinancing stuff is going on for you at this point. That's kind of like the focus on that. So a lot of other people's money that you are trying to work with or inherit, something like that. So, and then Mercury's going into its shadow at this point. So just kind of pay attention to what's going on. You will eventually understand what's been shifted, what's being changed for you over the next couple months. So that is it. Let's go to Virgos. Okay, so for Virgos, basically everything's just kind of you're going to have this build up, this stellium happening in your 7th house for you guys. So, I mean, yeah, maybe it's basically going to feel like it's too good to be true when it comes to relationships, contracts, all that kind of fun stuff or whatever. But you're going to have to understand, like, things might feel like they're getting a little deeper, but there's still a little bit of like relationship stuff or connections that you may need to like focus on in a way. So yeah, so we'll get to it. Jupiter is stationing direct in your 10th house, so whatever's been going on, whatever opportunities you've been gifted or blessed with when it comes to your public life, taking on a new role in the public life or in some type of career or whatever you are trying to work towards, you should understand what you had to review, all the data you had to collect, all the information you had to just like really understand before you can actually grow into maybe a new career or something, or a new role in your public life. But from this point on, since like last summer to last fall, you've been kind of introduced to these little opportunities and stuff like that of growth. So, but from this point on, you will understand where the growth will lead you, and you will gain more of those blessings as this transit continues and progresses. And then Venus goes into your 8th house, which is kind of like what I was talking about. Like, it's gonna feel a little deeper when it comes to these connections or relationships and stuff like that. You're gonna want more intimacy in a way, but pay attention, because this might feel like it's too good to be true, but Venus is going to go retrograde, can go back into your 7th house, kind of review these things that's going on at this point. So I would just kind of hold on any contracts or any signings or whatever like that, or just dealing with anybody that you want to get a little bit, deeper, or if you're dealing with any like shared finances or investments and stuff like that, just kind of hang up on all that stuff, because things are going to change eventually. Then we get to the full moon in your 12th house in Leo. So there's something being illuminated in the like behind the scenes, the dark part of who you are. Something to do with like the subconscious, or dreams, or just anything to do with like your mental health in a way. It's coming to a light. The Sun and Mercury are in your 6th house, trying to make adjustments to your routines, making your physical health a little bit good in a way, or as best as possible, just so you can operate well. And then the moon over here in your 12th house is just like shining a light. It's showing you like, okay, here's like you're putting a flashlight into a dark room and you're seeing all of like the spiders, the webs, the skeletons in your closet and stuff like that. That's kind of like what the moon in Leo is showing you. Like, okay, we need to clean out the closet basically, or the attic or whatever, something like that. But and then Uranus is kind of in the mix with this T-square, so routines and just like, I don't know, things to do with maybe traveling might interfere with certain things that you're trying to heal or adjust to. I don't know, something like that. And then these planets go into Pisces in your 7th house, so it's just focusing on other people at this point. So like I said, but look at this huge stellium here. I mean, I know Virgos have been going through like relationship stuff since Saturn, and even since Neptune's been in Pisces for a very, very long time. So, I mean, Virgos have been going through it. But at this point, yeah, this is kind of like one of the last stages of these planets in your 7th house, so kind of hang up on there. These planets will eventually go into Aries for a little bit later this summer, so you'll get a little break when it comes to that stuff, but it'll be back, so just kind of hang around. Yeah, things will be okay. Things will work out. And then we get, I think, Mars stationing direct in your 11th house. So the ambition, the energy is coming back when it comes to working with people, groups of friends, groups of people, groups of communities and stuff like that. You will have the energy to either take care of what's necessary in your community, take care of what you need to take care of, or just, you'll be received maybe better opportunities because you've been, backed up to this point and understanding like, okay, this is what I need to do in order to move forward and stuff like that. So that's the only exciting part. And then we get like a new moon happening in your 7th house, refreshing anything to like do with contracts, relationships, all that kind of stuff, personal stuff. It's just really focused on other people at this point. And then your ruler, Mercury, is beginning its retrograde cycle at this point. So we'll talk more about that in March, but that's kind of how we end the month for you guys. Excuse me. All right, for Libra risings, where are we at? Okay. Libra risings. Okay, so we kind of, where all this stuff is kind of happening in your 6th house right here. A lot of stuff to do with work, routines, your physical health, maybe taking care of any pets, anything to do with like illnesses or injuries. You are taking care of this at this point. This is the focus around this time. But the first main thing happening is Jupiter is stationing direct in your 9th house, which is cool. I feel like since Jupiter's been in your 9th house, maybe traveling far has been a very a blessing, for you, since Jupiter's been in this area of life for you. And that's probably been nice. Learning new information, collecting data, even though it's maybe felt a little overwhelming in a way, but it's forming a trine to your 1st house, which is very beneficial, a very Jupiterian energy in a way. But yeah, anything to do with like traveling, higher education, if you are like trying to get back into school or just raise your degree in a way, legal matters, anything to do with like truths, foreign things and stuff like that. You'll start to understand like all the data you have collected in order for you to grow in this area of life for you. And it should get better. I'm not saying like anything bad's happening, but it's probably been a little difficult because Jupiter's been in detriment, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. So Venus is going into your 7th house of Aries, and I would pay attention to this, Libra risings, because Venus is going to go, actually, your ruler, I should say, before I even say this, your ruler, Venus, enters your 7th house, and it's going to go retrograde eventually. So pay attention throughout this whole month of what's going on when it comes to relationships, connecting with people, business contracts, just contracts in general, partnering up with people. If you're dealing with any marriage, things, that's going to be a very important keynote. Commitments in general, supporting other people, all of this kind of stuff is going to be the key until Venus gets back into your 6th house eventually. So pay attention to that, guys. Okay, and then the next big thing is the full moon in Leo. So this full moon in Leo is illuminating something to do, in your 11th house, friends, groups of people, communities, all this kind of stuff. It's shining a light on that, and maybe it's showing you what opportunities are needed in order for you to, be a part of a certain group, maybe be a part of just your tribe in general, or something like that. Opportunities, hopes and dreams, what you are like dreaming of. It's your dreams. It's the house of like where you want to just grow into and just be a part of. The Sun and Mercury in your 5th house right now, trying to, focus on like creativity, and children and playfulness and entrepreneurship, and like romance and stuff like that. But like, it's kind of like, it's the opposite of what I was saying about Aries rising, I think. So like, the focus is on you being the performer, and then the moon over here is like reflecting emotional, like something to do with your audience or how you're presenting, how like friends and stuff like that is gonna have a layer of emotions to it. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, whatever. And then Uranus over here is just shaking things up, you know, in your 8th house. So maybe it's something to do with like money, shared resources, or anything is just like kind of getting in the way of like what's going on between these luminaries, the full moon. And then everything gets into your 6th house, just building up this stellium in a way. So focusing on work, routines, taking care of your physical health, any injuries or illnesses, signing leases, just your daily workspace basically is the main focus. And there's a lot going on in your workspace, I bet. Maybe you're changing jobs. I don't know. Maybe there's adjustments happening in your workspace. That's just something that I can mention, but yeah. And then Mars is stationing direct. That's the next thing? Yeah. Mars is stationing direct in your 10th house. So cool. I mean, all this ambition, all this energy that has been pulled you back, that you have built up, been frustrated about, now it's time to release it and go from here. So maybe there's directions in your career life that you want to take care of and head towards, and that this is going to be the point where you are going to do it. It's going to be nice, at least. It's going to feel a little better. It's going to feel a little relieving, but you're going to have to take care of things that you might have to protect in a way. That's kind of how we end the month. And then we have like a new moon in Pisces. Mercury enters its shadow at this point. So that'll be kind of mainly for next month. All right, for Scorpio risings, so we start the month, basically, you know, this 5th house is building up, guys. Just pay attention to this 5th house, a little bit of your 6th house, but you have this huge stellium happening in your 5th house, which could feel nice, but it could feel too good to be true, like I keep saying. That's like, I feel like the theme of this month. Too good to be true, guys. Jupiter is stationing direct in your 8th house. So any information, data that you've collected since last summer into early fall, you will start to understand the growth of this transit, something to do with like shared resources, shared finances, investments, psychological connections, refinancing, soul contracts. Like there's been like kind of like a death, rebirth, transformation happening for you guys in this area. Just connecting with people on a deeper level has been a very, very key role or whatever. But you're gonna understand like from this point on, you'll gain the growth that is needed when it comes to these 8th house themes as well. So Venus enters your 6th house, like I mentioned. This 5th and 6th house, this is when Venus is going to go retrograde and go back over. But a lot of all these other planets are going to be doing the same thing as well. So Venus in your 6th house, I mean, yeah, you're going to want to have a little bit of fun with coworkers and your workspace and stuff like that. You're going to want to at least enjoy it. Be a little bit fun, adventurous, but things are going to be slowing down in this area of life for you. So just kind of hang on. Don't assume that things are just going to be, you know, all like beautiful and like good, because there's something that's going to like be, it's going to go under review when it comes to like what you're doing in how you're operating in your workspace, how your physical health is kind of like kicking up, or just you're dealing with any physical things or whatever. That's kind of been the thing. It's going to go back in your 5th house eventually. So a lot of things to talk about though, but let's see. Then we end up having this full moon happening in your 10th house. So your public life, your career, something in your public life is being illuminated. It's coming to a completion. The Sun and Mercury are in your 4th house. Maybe you've been spending time at home, maybe dealing with family stuff and in general. The 10th, 4th house as access is all about kind of like the work, home life kind of things. So you're trying to find some balance when it comes to this. But Uranus over here in your 7th house is creating a little bit of chaos, uncertainty when it comes to like relationships. So maybe contracts, other people are kind of getting in the way of certain things of what you're trying to balance out. Then everything gets into your 5th house of Pisces. So we just kind of build up this, 5th house theme, romance, creativity, children, if you're dealing with any of that. Self-expressions, something to do with like inspiration, fun, passions, bucket list things. That's just kind of the huge theme here for you guys, because all this Pisces stuff is just going up a notch like real quick. So And then after this, your ruler stations direct in your ninth house. So that's cool. I mean, you can finally operate better than you probably have been since Mars has been in retrograde. But yeah, Mars in your ninth house stationing direct. All of this energy and built up energy that you have been maybe frustrated about, that has been kind of just pulled you back, is finally being released at this point. You can finally maybe take one step at a time if you are trying to travel or learn any higher education stuff. Be maybe a little bit more combative when it comes to like politics or what you believe in or your truths and stuff like that. That's kind of Mars in the ninth house. So that should be a little better though. That's kind of how we end the month too. And then we get a new moon in Pisces to refresh this whole energy going on. Mercury is beginning its retrograde shadow at this point, so pay attention to that. We'll talk more about that in February. But yeah, fifth house for you Scorpios there's something huge happening here. Okay, let's get to Sagittarius. Let's see, hold on. Okay, so Sagittarius. So this fourth house is kind of getting built up for you. I'm a Sagittarius with you, so I'm with you guys. So I can talk about myself and personal life maybe. Or just predict things for myself in general. That's kind of what I mean. Anyways, so this fourth house has kind of been building up. You know, a lot of things going on in the home life, your family, your roots, just your private life in general and stuff like that. So, but first of all, your ruler, Jupiter, is stationing direct in your seventh house. So that's good. We can finally feel ourselves again. Like Sagittarius risings and Pisces risings will feel a lot better as soon as Jupiter stations direct. So Jupiter been in your seventh house since last May. But think about what was going on at the end of summer into early fall. That is kind of like the theme that Jupiter's kind of been going back over, reviewing for you guys. But I feel like at this point we should understand where the growth will lend us or lead us to when it comes to working with other people. Partnerships, contracts, relationships in general have probably been a lot better for you guys. Just connecting with all these people has probably brought a lot of blessings for you. So like supporting other people, commitments and stuff like that. We can finally grow from this point and go forward and expand in a way that's a little bit better for us, you know, the second or third time around. So that's very interesting. I like that. I'm excited about that. Venus will enter our fifth house of Aries at this same point. But we're going to have to understand that Venus is going to go retrograde in this point of the chart and then go back into our fourth house of Pisces eventually. But Venus in the fifth house. Venus loves to be in the fifth house. So let's just embrace this as much as possible for this month. So creativity, self-expressions, things to do with like children, romance. It's a very fertile time, especially I feel like when Venus gets in here. Very playful, very, you know, romantic. You know, it's like dating could be a little bit fun, but just kind of hold on because it's too good to be true for this time of the month. So we're going to be stopped. We're going to actually have to go back over and review things what we want. Our desires are going to be shifted as she shifts from direct to retrograde in the fifth house. So that should be a very interesting time. Then we get to the full moon in Leo. So this moon in Leo, I mean, yeah, it's illuminating stuff when it comes to like ninth house themes, which is, you know, basically a very Sagittarius kind of theme energy house. Expansion, traveling, learning, expanding, just anything, your mind, horizons, traveling in general, just any of that stuff. The Sun and Mercury are in your third house, kind of just keeping things a little bit low key or at least trying to focus at least in your immediate environment and stuff like that. So, but having the moon kind of just showing a little bit of illumination, a little bit of light in this ninth house area for us is just kind of giving us a little bit of hope of like, yeah, we can travel eventually, or you maybe just bring this fire back to learn or teach or whatever. But the only problem is Uranus though. Uranus is in the mix of this, forming a T-square, shaking something up in maybe your work life, whatever routines that you usually do. it will be shaken up. So if you are trying to travel or do something to do with like social or learning and stuff like that, there might be something going on that will throw you out of like, wow, didn't see that coming, like unexpectedness. So just kind of be careful around the middle of the month. And then everything goes into Pisces, and we just kind of build up this stellium happening in your 4th house. So maybe time to just kind of chill at home for the most part, do things around the house, spend time with family if you're into that. Yeah, that's kind of how we end the month as well. Mars is basically stationing direct in our 8th house, which is good. I am glad that Mars is finally stationing direct. But yeah, so just kind of we'll have all this built up energy that we can finally, charge forward, but it will take some time. But just Mars in the 8th house, maybe cutting out certain things to do with like certain contracts, deeper contracts, debts in general, just shared resources, loans, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Things are changing in a way. We're going to have to take care of certain things when it comes to using other people's resources or trying to bond with other people in order to just gain the best out of just whatever situation we are going through. So, and then new moon happening in Pisces 4th house, as well as Mercury stationing or entering its retrograde phase at this point. So, yeah, a lot of things happening in our 4th house. A lot of deep subterranean things happening for us. It's gonna be crazy though, but I don't know. Hopefully good things happen. You always have to look on the bright side. All right, Caps, let's get to you. Okay, so Capricorns, as we start the month, this 3rd house is going to be a very prominent area for you guys. Just kind of really pay attention to what's going on. Let's see. So Jupiter will station direct in your 6th house. So whatever blessings, opportunities you have been kind of gained, you've learned a little bit of information, or you've collected some data when it comes to like your workspace, or how you need to operate a little bit better when it comes to like just serving others in a way. Taking care of any pets, taking care of yourself should be a little bit easier and better at this point. Think about, what was going on at the end of summer into early fall. That was kind of like where you guys were like really had to focus on this area of life for you, of what needed to grow. And at this point, you will understand at this point that, okay, what is good for us and what is not good for us in the way we operate in our daily work, what is needed for our lives, and just how we serve people in general, or how you guys serve people, I should say. That's a cool thing to think about. Venus is entering your 4th house of Aries, so this is going to be where she is going to go retrograde eventually. So just kind of pay attention to what's going on, in your home life. Maybe you want to redecorate something in your home, renovate something, but just hold on for right now. That's the advice I would say. Kind of wait until she's back at this point in like the next couple months or whatever, to really know like what you want to do with like your home, or just dealing with family issues or anything like that too. Like maybe you're trying to connect with people, but it's just not working out for you. So there needs to be adjustments or something going on. Then we get to the full moon in Leo. And that's just kind of illuminating some stuff around the 8th house themes, which is like other people's money, other people's resources, intimacy, shared contracts. Not really shared, I would say shared contracts, I guess you could say. Just refinancing, psychological connections, paying off debt, a huge transformational time in a way that's going on here. Maybe a death or rebirth type of stuff. The sun and moon are in your 2nd house, focusing on what you need to prioritize right now at this point, trying to, get your ducks in a row, your finances in order and stuff like that. The moon in Leo could help at least balance out what you need and what's helpful from other people. The only issue I would just say Uranus is being in the mix of this T-square is really shaking something up when it comes to your works, like creativity, maybe something to do with like children, like kind of throws you off, or these are money houses, I should say. So like resources and money houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and also the 11th. So maybe think about like money, something to do with like money. So Yeah. Okay, so let's see. And then everything is just going into your third house of Pisces. So this third house is building up, guys. So pay attention what's going on in your third house. Your immediate environment, how you are interacting with other people, your social circle. This is all going to be kind of like really focused and shifted in a way. So a lot of things change, a lot of changes happen in your third house, guys. But this is the focus for the month. This is just Pisces season, so but big things are coming. You know, look at Venus is about to station retrograde and then go back. So then we have Mars basically stationing direct in your 7th house. So Capricorns, if you have been dealing with any like, you know, frustrating relationships, people kind of like passive aggressive kind of people or whatever, or contracts or things you're not really too sure of and stuff like that, that is coming to an end. You will finally have all of this built up energy, or, you know, like kind of be aware of like other people having a lot of frustrated built up energy, just kind of like just coming at you at like all at once. So just try to take it easy when it comes to other people. You don't want to like, you know, piss anybody off, but you can at least try to support them at least. That's all. That's the best thing about this. I mean, you can bring them some groundedness if they were feeling unemotional, like emotionally flared or something like that. But that's the only good part. So we're done with all that stuff. And then we get to like everything, like the new moon's happening in your third house. Mercury's starting its retrograde cycle at this point. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Yeah, that's kind of how we end the month, guys. All right. Aquarius risings. All right, Aquarius, so basically, like the 2nd house is going to be the theme. I've been telling like every sign, I'm like, this is the house that's very, you know, where the stellium is at. So wherever Pisces is at, that's the stellium. That's the things that's going to be changing the most for you. So this is your 2nd house. What is the 2nd house? It's stuff that you own, your finances, any ownership or whatever. Things to do with like your work ethic, what you are prioritizing yourself with, like possessions, values, all that kind of stuff. Focus on that this month. Jupiter is stationing direct in your 5th house, which is pretty good, you know. I would say, you know, whatever information that you've been dealing with, anything to do with like creativity, romance, children, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you are trying to grow your family by having children of this or something. This could be the point where things are looking good. You're getting the green light for that kind of stuff. So that's another layer that you can really focus on. Anything to do with like entrepreneurship, like just the dating realm in general, what you are passionate about, what you are trying to inspire others and have a little bit of faith in. Yeah, this is gonna look good for you guys. You know, this is where the growing process will push you, and you will be completing this cycle that has been going on since the last year. So yeah, if you are trying to have kids, like go for it. It's saying it's a possibility. You'll see it grow over time. And then Venus enters your 3rd house of Aries. So this is going to be where she's going to be stationing retrograde and then going back over and going back into your 2nd house of Pisces. So Venus in your 3rd house is just really opening up things to do with like being more sociable in your local environment, neighbors, close friends and stuff like that. Maybe spending time with siblings and enjoying a little bit of things, but kind of hold on. There's going to be a slowdown happening here. So I would just say wait on most things if you are trying to, I don't know, connect with people or trying to just learn something or whatever, because there's gonna be changes. There's gonna be many changes happening. And then we go to the full moon in Leo, which is in your 7th house. So this is just illuminating maybe just whatever connections you are kind of you are dealing with at this point. The Sun and Mercury are in your 1st house. You are trying to just, you know, put your energy towards like connecting with people. You know, having the moon in Leo opposes is really just trying to find that balance between you and other people in general. The only issue is Uranus is going to be in the mix, shaking things up in your 4th house. So something to do with like your property, maybe dealing with family members kind of gets in the mix of like these connections or contracts or whatever you're dealing with at this point. That's kind of what I could say about that. And then everything kind of gets into your second house of Pisces. So just the Pisces realm is coming. This second house for you guys is really building up at this time. So yeah, just really prioritize your time. That's all it's really saying. Like, prioritize your time, and like know what you need to do in order to feel secure. You know, do what's necessary, because this is a very, like I said, your finances will probably be in a different place, or whatever you own is going to be in a different state of mind within the next like few months, in the next year, I should say. So yeah, that's kind of how we end the month. Mars stations direct in your 6th house. You can probably operate a little bit better when it comes to your services in general, taking care of yourself, taking care of any pets or anything to do with just taking care of like stuff or healing in a way. Yes, you'll have all this built up energy, but this is the go time. And like I said, okay, so and then we get through the new moon in Pisces, on top of Mercury starting its retrograde cycle at this point. So we'll talk more about that next month, guys. And we are on to Pisces. Okay, so Pisces, here we go. This is you. Like I said, I think last month in January, you are going to be the spotlight even more this month too. So happy birthday if you're celebrating your birthday. You have many changes coming your way, Pisces rising. That's all I'm saying. So we start the month basically, you know, Jupiter is stationing direct in your 4th house. So maybe something to do with like your home, trying to gain a bigger house or expand your living situation or expand your family in a way. You've probably understood the qualities, the details, the data, the information that you have been gifted or blessed with since Jupiter has been in your 4th house. So that should be good at this point. You know, things to do with like whatever was going on at the late summer of last year, early fall. That was kind of like when things were very like what you needed to pay attention to. But at this point, we're done with all that. We understand what you need to do in order to grow from this point on. And Venus is entering your 2nd house, which she will eventually go retrograde eventually in March. But pay attention to what's going on this whole month, because this is where the slowdown is going when it comes to Venusian themes, values. It's literally the 2nd house. The 2nd house and Venus kind of have this relationship to do, or connection to do with like values, prioritizing stuff, self-esteem, work ethic, just how you kind of just operate when it comes to just feeling secure. You are trying to have security or build up security in this place, but there's some adjustments that need to be worked out before you can gain the security that you want, because Venus will go back into your 1st house of Pisces and kind of shift a little bit of personality and traits to do with yourself. So like I said, this is all about you. Then we get to the full moon in Leo, that is just coming to a light. It's illuminating something to do in your work space, the way you are servicing other people. The Sun and Mercury in your 12th house, about to end this cycle, enter your sign. So maybe isolating, dealing with mental health, or trying to heal some subconscious and mental illnesses or whatever, or just trying to get spiritual and just like clear your headspace in a way. But opposite that, having the moon over here in your 6th house, this is kind of just, what is the word? I usually would use this for Pisces, Virgo. It's like, just like the physical, mental realm is like, I don't know. It's kind of, there's a balance here that's happening here, and you need to find some balance when it comes to your mental and physical kind of health. So that's kind of what's going on there. Uranus's only issue is just creating a little bit of chaos when it comes to 3rd house themes. Transportation, siblings, just education or learning something in general. So that could get in the way. And then everything goes into your 1st house, building up this huge Pisces stellium, which is just gonna continue until this, Pisces theme is done. Yeah. And so yeah, express yourself, just kind of just be your true self. I mean, there's a lot of things kind of put onto you, I feel like, right now. So just kind of take it easy if you are dealing with a lot of stuff. Mars is basically stationing direct in your 5th house, which could feel nice, you know, things to do with like romance, creativity, inspiration, bucket list items. You have all of this built up energy that has been backed up since Mars has been in retrograde, but this is the time to just ready to pull the trigger and just shoot for the stars. So kind of just do whatever. I mean, go for it. Take care of what things are necessary. You might feel uncomfortable dealing with certain things when it comes to being romantic, or dealing with children, or just finding your creative spark and stuff like that. But it is trining your 1st house, which is pretty nice. And then we have a new moon happening in your 1st house, just refreshing your energies and stuff like that. But also Mercury is entering its shadow at this point. So we'll talk more about that when we get into March. But that is it, guys. That is February. A lot of stuff going on, guys. A lot of stuff going on here. Whoops. So yeah, that's February, guys. If you like that, please like the video. Please share, subscribe. Join my community, join my Patreon to get this a little bit early and stuff like that. It's kind of nice to at least do a shorter video than I usually do. I mean, right at 2 hours, but that's good. You know, it's good. I'm good with this. Yeah. But yeah, guys, a lot of layers happening in the month of February. This Venus retrograde is just building up. Mars and Jupiter are finally going forward. But we just have to deal with this Mercury and Venus retrograde eventually once we get into March and stuff like that. March is a huge month. Neptune enters Aries at the end of March. That's a huge deal. Watch my 2025 yearly horoscope to get more information on that. But we will talk about that next month too. So follow me on Patreon, get this early. Follow me on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like, share with your friends, family, whatever you want. Get it out there. Or you can also listen to this on Spotify eventually. So if you want to just kind of chill, take a little drive, or just listen to stuff on Spotify, I am the guy you want to listen to. And follow me on Spotify as well too. So if you want to, you know, search the merch, Coda for Astrology, go to my Instagram. It's all in, the information's in there. You can find some backpacks, some cups or whatever, hats, joggers, hoodies. Everything on there is unbelievable, and it's the best clothing you will probably actually wear. And I'm not just saying that. I am putting all of my life onto that stuff and saying that. So, but yeah, I will see you next month, guys. Take it easy. We have eclipse season happening this month and into March. We'll talk more about that in March. A lot of big things happening over the next couple months, guys. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say. So I will catch you in the next video, guys. See ya.